أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our salat which we have just done. For those who just joined in on the internet or just walked into our class, we are going through the 54 fara'id as enumerated by Imam Hassan al-Basri rahimahullah. We are going through the 7th fard, which is compulsory upon every Muslim to consume only halal, making sure that the food is halal, that our income is halal, that is everything that facilitates our living is halal. So we went and explained from the verses of the Quran and the sayings of our Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we came to this particular point where we stopped. Inshallah, we continue with our discussion. According to Imam Abu Hamid al-Ghazali rahimahullah in his Ihya Ulumuddin, he says halal and haram things also have categories, levels within themselves. Not every halal is the same, not every haram is the same. Ulama, Islamic scholars have categorized. So everything that Islam regards as halal to consume is always pure and beneficial to a human being. Halal, tayyib, tayyibat. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, good things. Halal by default is always good for a person. Halal, alhamdulillah. There are billions of halal. Ashya in essence is halal until otherwise proven that it is haram. Ashya, the things. Everything is halal unless there is a law, it says haram about it. But some of them are more pure and beneficial than others. Yes, it's halal, but it has more benefit than the others. Conversely, everything that Islam regards as impermissible, unlawful, haram, is in essence impure, khabith, and harmful to a human being, both spiritually as well as physically. However, in their level of impurity and harmness or harmfulness, they also differ. In this regard, there are 4 levels of abstinence from harams. So we need to keep away from haram, maharimillah. If you want to be best Muslim, what do you have to do? Keep away from haram. What is this process called? Ittaqa, taqwa. How do we keep from harams? What are the levels? Is everybody's keeping away from haram the same? Not necessarily. Ulama define abstinence from harams into 4 different levels. First, which is the basic level, at the fundamental level, minimum required level, is the abstinence from haram things by a simple Muslim. Like me, like you. It is absolutely far to avoid the harams at this level. Non-avoidance is a major sin, kabira. You must keep away from those haram things. And it is regarded as ma'asiyah, regarded as the disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Consequently, if you die and go the other side without making tawbah, cleansing yourself from these major sins, you will be receiving a punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It will warrant definitely punishment on the day of judgment. Simple as this. These are the harams that every Muslim should know like their own name. If you don't know your own name, when would a person don't know their name? when they're babies. They don't know their name because they can't speak, they don't understand, little infants. Or they suffer from a sickness called amnesia, or they fainted. In other words, your intellect is not working. Then you're not responsible, mukallaf. As long as you are mukallaf, as long as you are aware and awake, alert Muslim, you know that you're a human being, you know your name, then if you call yourself a Muslim, you must avoid certain types of haram, which is at the bottom level, applicable to every single Muslim. Fardu ayn to do so. There is no ifs and buts. Only time when a haram of this nature changes, its nature becomes a halal temporarily, when you're about to die, which we have given example before. A pork becomes halal to eat at the time of death. If you don't eat, you're going to die and perish. Otherwise, it's always haram. The second type of abstinence, keeping away, avoiding of harams, is of a salih Muslim. Brother, what kind of a Muslim is that? Is he Pakistani? Or is he Saudi Arabian? No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Islam, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam categorizes Muslims. Not every Muslim is the same Muslim. There is a middle line here. This side is all kufr. We have kafir and we have a munafiq, hypocrite. This side is Islam. There is nothing in between. Islam. But amongst the Muslims there is also a level. As Quran refers sometimes. Salihin, Siddiqeen, wa Shuhada. Sadiqeen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers in the Quran. A salih Muslim is a good Muslim. A person after having La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah in his heart firmly established, and he works on his heart, he tries to be a good Muslim. Good Muslim. Salih means good. Good Muslim. The other one is, the first one is a simple Muslim. That is a person who says La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, is by default a Muslim. Amantu billahi wa malaikatihi, all the creed of Islam we believe, is a Muslim. But if he doesn't, which he normally doesn't, is a fasiq Muslim, transgressing Muslim, a fajr Muslim, a sinful Muslim. When you avoid the sins, when you move towards piety, once you move towards being serious with your Islam, your practice, you are called a salih Muslim. Your heart is getting better. A healthy Muslim, a salih Muslim, Allahumma ja'alna minhum ya Rabbil Alamin. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of at least a salih Muslim. Other Muslims on the, may Allah help us. Majority of the Muslims today, we are at the first level is the nominal Muslim, labeled Muslim. A Muslim who just says, okay, is it fard? No, it's not fard. Therefore, don't worry about it. It's sunnah, bro. It's makruh. It's wajib. Is it fard? Not fard. I do it. Oh, yeah, I'll make tawbah afterwards, inshallah. Yeah. That kind of a Muslim. Daima doesn't. But the second one is a Muslim who is serious about his Islam. So, although for a person as far as haram, keeping away from the harams are concerned, although some of the ulama, maybe here and there, according to this school of thought, according to that school of thought, according to this madhab, what have you, according to this minhaj, they have given fatwa that it is maybe permissible, halal. They ask me, brother, is riba halal or haram? Well, we live in a day, a century. You can dial a pizza as well as you can dial a fatwa. As well, you can do anything. You can get a fatwa for anything these days. So although there is a fatwa of some people say that this is halal in terms of that particular food, that particular item, a salih Muslim believes that there is only one opinion. There are many other opinions which says the opposite. There is a chance that it may not be absolutely haram. There could be haram also. It could be haram also. Based on this particular shak, doubt that he has, suspicion that he has in his heart, he avoids, that Muslim, Salih Muslim, abstains from this particular object of eating. This particular substance. Although there is a fatwa on it, you just want to be on the safe side. That's what a Salih Muslim is. Why is that so? When the food goes into the mouth, what happens? The heart spoils. One particular sheikh, he says, we went to New York and we attended a beautiful seminar. And they insisted that we should stay with one particular Muslim family. And we did. That particular day, it was beautiful during the days. We had seminars. You can see the ma'nawi, the spiritual magnificence, barakah is coming into our halaqah, our gathering. And he says, we went and ate dinner. And after dinner, we went to with sleep. And we got up for tahajjud. Excuse me, hello, anybody there? Heart is not responding. I said to my wife, how are you feeling? She says, wallahi the same. She says, oh no, what have we done? Did we do any sin? We're retracing our steps backwards. What happened? What happened? What happened? Until this time we were good. We're feeling something. Then all of a sudden, no longer. Then all of us came to the same conclusion that it was the food. And we went and asked the host. By the way, according to Sharia, you cannot ask a Muslim what he cooks. When you go to his house, and you say, brother, is this meat halal or haram? Brother, you're in a Muslim house. He feeds you halal. Supposed to feed you halal. Supposed to feed you halal. And therefore, there shouldn't be a problem. A Muslim doesn't go to the Vietnamese shop and buy pork. Correct? If he does, he's not a full can. Correct? He's of the first type maybe. Allahu Alam. Na'udhu billah. Even a Muslim of the first type would not do it. Because they had such a relationship with the brother that they stayed with, he said, let me ask. He asked his friends, where did you get this meat from? This pot from? Okay, from our house. Where did you get the meat from? He says, it was on special on Safeway, Woolworths. So we bought some meat from there. No wonder. Yep, you can, there is a fatwa on it, no problem. Some ulama says you can eat Ahl Kitab's food, and some ulama says it's okay to eat from the McDonald's. Some ulama says it's okay to eat from KFC and others. Not a problem. But he says, this is an experience. I feel it in my heart. It's not responding. So this is a different level altogether. If there is a doubt that it could be haram, although fatwa is given on an issue. If there is a fatwa that's haram, 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 and everybody knows that it's haram, you're at the first level. You need to abide by it. There is no shak. Nobody can change the status of a haram into halal. Nobody can turn around and say, this particular brand of pork produced by Don is good, is halal. How much did Don pay you, we'll say. Fatwa, anything is possible. But this second level is the simplest. If there is even a fatwa on a particular issue that you know that it could be haram, you just keep away from it. Abstinence. The third level of abstinence is practiced by the people who call them muttaqi, the people of taqwa. Not just a simple salih Muslim, a common variety, good Muslim, but this is a notch higher, one level higher. Although there is no fatwa on this issue, on this particular product, regarding its permissibility or impermissibility, haramness or halalness. Or even the Islamic scholars, they say, it's all right, la ba'sa bihi. There is no problem with it. La ba'sa bihi, there is no problem with it. Yet out of fear of falling into haram, a muttaqi Muslim, a Muslim with taqwa in his heart, abstains from overindulgence even with permissible things. He wants to avoid doubtful things. This is actually called wara'. You just exercise caution. I understand, no problem. It's halal, yeah, no problem, go ahead. But if I eat too much, I know what happens to me. So I need to keep away. If I eat too much, what happens to my tahajjud? Bye-bye. What happens to my fajr? Na'udhu billah, bye-bye. Yep. What happens to my isha? After having a huge meal, what happens? I'll pray isha inshallah in the 2 o'clock in the morning. You don't even get up for the tahajjud. Forget about tahajjud, I mean isha. Oh, astaghfirullah, you should have thought about that before. Yeah, you missed it. Why? If you trace your steps back, it's the amount of food, the portion they've eaten. The abstinence of a sadiq Muslim. Sadiq is a sifa. Sadiq means loyal, truthful. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. Siddiqeen, as-Siddiq. This is their level. Although there is no issue of being even suspicious, there is not even shak on the thing. It's halal and halal. 100% not a problem. They still keep away from that halal for fear of not having the right niyyah. Not having the right niyyah or being able to use in ibadah that particular food. Or it might invite thoughts of laziness if I were to eat a little bit. What are you talking about, bro? Muslim has to have a right intention for eating? Yep. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ya Rabbi, please give energy from this food to me so that I can use it in your ibadah. Intention of a mu'min is better than his amal. Do you know that, forget about just eating anything, everything that a Muslim does, he does it with an intention to gain Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's pleasure. As Sufyan al-Thawri, rahimahullah, one of the greatest scholars, mujtahid imams, this our deen has produced, our tradition has produced. He was an imam like Imam Shafi'i, Imam Malik, Ahmad ibn Hanbal, Abu Hanifa, great mujtahid imam of a madhab. He had his own madhab, but he was a bit strict, absolutely, but a person of haqq. He lived during the time of Ahmad ibn Hanbal radiallahu ta'ala anhu. One day, he was very poor. He came out of the masjid early in the morning, out of his home to go to masjid early hours of the morning, just before Fajr started. His students, main students, some of them are waiting outside their sheikh. When he comes out, they want to show respect and they want to help him out. This is courtesy. This is the adab towards the sheikh. So when the sheikh comes out, it's still dark. As they walk through, then from the light, some of the light that comes through, they just realize that Imam, the sheikh, was wearing his coat inside out. By mistake. By mistake. And they said, Sheikh, excuse me, Sheikh. Sir, what's up? He says, you're wearing your coat inside out. It's not very nice to go into the public, into the masjid with the coat inside out. People are looking, the sheikh is wearing inside out. You know what he said? Subhanallah. I put this coat for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm not going to take it out for any human being, he said. Wearing your coat, jacket in the morning to go out for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When was the last time you made an intention for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when you put the red shirt on? Or the green shirt on? Or the t-shirt on? The singlet on? That's how a muttaqi, a sadiq thinks. Everything he does. He says, I'm going to eat this food. Do I have the right intention to eat this food? Is this food going to help me to do more ibadah, or is it just a waste of time? They used to avoid eating food. Some of them every 7-8 days they used to eat a little bit. They say we hate spending time in the place called toilet. That's a waste of time. We don't want to spend time in the toilet. So they will eat minimum and with the right intention. If I eat this, oh nice, beautiful halawa, ya habibi, halawa the jibn, or what's lady's finger, or something else, bird's nest. Everybody makes up what they call name for sweets, depending on your culture. Or birfi. Beautiful, nice. He says, if I eat this halal 100%, alhamdulillah, a salih Muslim made, not a problem. If I eat this, I'm going to feel a little bit more relaxed. If I relax, I'm going to stand up in salat in a few minutes time. That means I'm going to be lazy a little bit. He says, in order to avoid that particular feeling, what must I do? Keep away from that food. Brother, come on, these are all halal. Islam is not that difficult. 100% correct you are. These are for that kind of Muslims. But what we're going to discuss here in our discussion, in ours, is actually the first level. Not even the second level or the third level or the fourth level. We just want to go through what is halal and haram at the basic level where every Muslim is supposed to know. Nobody has any excuse. It is not for the shuyukh to know. It is not for the shaykh who went to Hajj to know. It is for every Muslim who reaches the age of puberty has to know. Who identifies with Islam has to know. That is the level that we will be, inshallah, pitching our talks and we will be concentrating on, inshallah ta'ala. Deal? Deal. So we will only consider the things, Sharia, the sacred law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has laid down, clear laws regarding the halalness or haramness. Somebody was asking me today, is there such word as halalness and haramness? I just made up one. Get used to it. Let's look at the haram. Halal we don't have a problem with. Let's look at the haram things. Anything that we eat, anything that the Sharia regards as haram, that we should not touch, keep away. We should not eat and keep away from. Any haram is haram, regarded as haram because of two things. Simply put, li'aynihi or lighayrihi. Certain things are haram because of their basic, intrinsic attributes, or the meanings that the Sharia has attached to them. They by default are regarded as haram. Absolutely haram, li'aynihi. For example, pork, pig, eating ham. No matter what angle you look at, li'aynihi, in itself, in essence, the Quran says it's haram. Therefore, it's haram. No questions about it. You can't change the status. Impossible. So it possesses some primary attribute or aspect that the Quran attaches to, or by its nature, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it haram to us. Or secondly, lighayrihi. Due to a secondary cause, the way it was acquired, or the effect it produces, renders that particular thing as haram. What does that mean? This is an apple in my hand. Apple by nature, by default, is halal. But if it is a stolen apple, somebody stole it and gave it to me, I know that it's stolen, is it halal or haram? لِغَيْرِهِ, because of the stealing business, stealing made it haram. I can't eat this food. It's haram. Otherwise, the apple in itself, in essence, is halal. Correct? So you need to consider in this way in order to understand a thing being haram is because in its nature there is a particular aspect of it which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it haram. Therefore, li'aynihi, in its essence is haram. Naturally, primarily it's haram. And the second type is when that particular substance, although halal, turns into haram because the way it's acquired, or the effect that it produces on human beings. We will inshallah look at this in a more detailed manner. In very general terms, everything we consume, eat and drink, fall into three categories. There is no other. You can't have anything outside this, even if you want to. It's either mineral, vegetable, or animal. Everybody says, yeah, I remember the game when we play with our kids. Okay, mineral, vegetable, we ask questions about that particular thing, kids play. Look what the Sharia says. Everything that we consume is either of a mineral nature, like salt, or vegetable nature, like, what is it, carrot? Or animal nature, like a burger with meat. Correct? Animal, vegetable, and mineral. So inshallah, what I intend to do in the next few lectures, go through. Today inshallah I want to finish minerals and stop at minerals. It's very easy to understand, very simple to understand. Vegetables are also very easy to understand. But when it comes to the animals, this is a huge area. We will look at halal food aspect of eating animals. What animals are we allowed to eat? What constitutes halal meat? Do we eat the meat of Ahl Kitab? When a food becomes haram or halal meat, we are all carnivores. We eat meat, correct? There are no vegans or vegetarians in Islam. We eat meat. You can be exception to the rule. I'm not saying anything, but this is the reality. Because it goes into our body. We get majority of our vitamins and minerals and other nutritions. We need to eat meat. You can't get iron in many things except in red meat. And we eat meat. So how do we eat is so important. How about hunting? How about fishing? When does it become halal? What animals are halal to shoot? What animals to eat? What animals to slaughter to eat? Can we eat a kangaroo, for example? Can we eat a koala? Can we eat insects? Which grub? What is that the Aborigines eat? The white stuff that moves? Grub. Yeah, grub. Are we allowed to eat this? Why not? And I'm going to go through, inshallah, one by one, in a very simple, at the level that the youth can understand and the people at home can understand. I will go through, inshallah, the injunctions of the Sharia, of our fiqh, one by one. At the end of our journey of this particular fard, inshallah, we'll be in a better position to understand our deen. So when we are confronted with an object that looks like something to eat, we ask, is this halal to eat, not halal to eat? Immediately you will recall the information that you've learned here so that inshallah you can practice your deen accordingly. That's the whole purpose of learning the fara'id. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us in our journey. Minerals. Where do the minerals come from? They usually come from the earth, the soil. For example, salt. Where does salt come from? The soil. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put it there, and we just go and help ourselves. A mineral of any kind becomes haram to consume when it is established scientifically or otherwise through experience that it is harmful, poisonous to the human consumption, to the human being. Like eating soil or soap. Brother, who eats soap? What are you talking about? Yeah, some people eat soap. My father, who's sitting at the back, doesn't understand what I'm saying. He used to tell me a story. They had a shepherd in their village. This shepherd, mashallah, used to take care of their flock of sheep and cattle. But every day, the people who give their flock, sheep, and the cattle to look after, they used to also look after his eating. He doesn't do anything. He's a bit not too clever, a simpleton person, but mashallah, he eats a lot. When he eats, mashallah. And this is during the time when people are going through some famine, some difficulty. But this guy, when he eats the food of 3 families maybe in one go. One of the smart ones, he says, I'll teach him a good lesson. He made his favorite dish, layers upon layers of like lasagna, similar type. Just before the little meat on top, he has sliced very thinly some soap, like flakes of soap. He put it, mashallah, nicely on top and put the sauce on top and put it in front of him. He began to eat and eat. After a few minutes, his mouth literally started to froth. The foams begin to come out. He doesn't know what's happening, poor thing. He just jumped into the river. After washing, he gave up his profession of looking after the sheep and the cattle. Yep. I mean, don't go and feed anybody with soap, because soap is poisonous to human being. In themselves, such things are halal. Soap is halal. Doesn't matter where the soap comes from. Doesn't matter if you know how the soap is done. If an animal falls into a salt lake, for example, salt lake, and the carcass after a certain period of time turns into salt, that carcass absolutely becomes salt, that is halal to eat. If you eat the carcass, it's haram, correct? Similarly, if the dead animal's body and fats are used in the old method of making soap, turns into soap, soap is halal. But you can't eat the soap, because soap is poisonous, and if it goes into your eyes, it starts burning, and children screaming. Therefore, Islam says not on. Many other minerals like this could be good for animals, good for other things, good for your plants, good for your pets, but you cannot touch it because it is harmful. Therefore, it is haram to consume such things. Haram to consume such things. Certain minerals, like clean earth, could be used to make tayammum also, because they're pak, they're pure. If it's najis, haram, we should not be able to make any tayammum. But it's soil, it's halal, but you can't just consume it. Don't go and eat soil, because it will poison you, you will die. But it is pure in essence. Because of the effect that it has on you, when you consume, that it poisons you, it becomes haram. These are the minerals. That's all you need to know about the minerals. But when it comes to, inshallah, vegetables and animals, we will go to a different dimension altogether, inshallah. I am going to stop here because we're going to consume some food, I presume, or in 10 minutes time or so, there is after Isha, they say. Isha is in 15 minutes, 20 minutes approximately. So inshallah, I'm going to stop here anyway. If you have any questions, up until now, I can entertain. If not, I'm going to stop here anyway, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair jazak. There is an announcement that I'm going to make. Inshallah, tomorrow night, there is for the first time, inshallah, at Islamic Council of Victoria, not organized by Islamic Council of Victoria, but at that particular venue, Jeffcott Street in West Melbourne, the City Mosque, there shall be a function. This function is about Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Yesterday, last night, according to one particular calculation, was Miladun Nabi, birth of our Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And we had a program here, but it was conducted in Turkish, because the majority of the people, elderly, who came for this special occasion, they wanted to hear everything in Turkish, so we missed out in English. So some of the shuyukh, very famous, well-known sheikhs in Melbourne, are getting together, and they're inviting everybody to this particular function, women, children, kids, inshallah, you bring everybody and you come and attend in 2 stories, ladies upstairs and the brothers downstairs. In the masjid, there shall be a program, inshallah. So there will be some talks, some anashid, and some refreshments provided, inshallah. I urge all of you to come. And usually on Saturday nights, here at the masjid, on Saturday nights, here at our masjid, Coburg Masjid, we have another class. This is usually open for brothers. But sisters also come and they stay behind the curtain in the masjid and listen from there. We go through Ash-Shifa, بِتَعْرِيفِ حُقُوقِ الْمُصْطَفَى by Qadi Iyad. Very famous, the book about the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the value and the status of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Very famous classical old book that we're going through page by page. We read and we learn, inshallah. Then we also at the end we form a halaqatul dhikr and we make some dhikr together. Remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, say la ilaha illallah and what have you. Brothers are all invited. This particular class tomorrow will be cancelled and everybody in that class will be going to that particular function at the Islamic Council because it is at the same time. Starts at 7 or 7:30. 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock, inshallah, it will continue until after Isha, inshallah ta'ala. So anybody and everybody who's not doing anything worthy, come to, inshallah, to that particular function. It's a joint effort by many sincere Muslims, and I urge you, inshallah, come to the celebration of the greatest creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Muhammad al-Mustafa sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Jazakumullahu khairul jaza. Any questions? MashaAllah, excellent. Everybody understood everything. There is no need for us questions. Jazakumullahu khairul jaza. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase our beneficial knowledge. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase our a'mal al-salihah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase our yaqeen and ikhlas in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to learn the fara'id, all the wajibat, all the harams, all the makruhat, and all the sunan, inshallah ta'ala, so that we apply it in our daily lives. We become good Muslims. Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, Al-Iman uryanun. Iman is naked. Libasuhu at-taqwa. Libas, the dress of it is taqwa. Correct? Wazinatuhu al-haya. And its decor, its beauty, the one that beautifies it is haya. You don't know what haya is? I'm not going to tell you. And وَمَالُهُ al-fiqh, ilm, knowledge. The ra'su mal, you cannot have a capital, you cannot have a business without a capital. The business capital is money, the money that you have. The capital of your iman is knowledge. Without knowledge, there is no Islam. Without knowledge, you will always make a mistake. You will consider haram into halal, haram into halal. You will be in full of bid'ah. So everything that you do must be based on قال Allah, قال Rasulullah. It has to be based on sound, beneficial knowledge. وَثَمَرَتُهُ الْعَمَلِ Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, and its outcome of these combination is none other than practice. That's when you become practicing Muslim. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase all of those things for us, inshallah ta'ala. Increase our taqwa, increase our haya, increase our fiqh, and increase our amal, inshallah ta'ala, with ikhlas and sincerity. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين سبحانك اللهم بحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت وحدك لا شريك لك نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. Please, just a reminder, the pizzas, I think the food has arrived. For those brothers and sisters, after consuming food, do not disappear. There is salat. We must stay for salat. It is one of the signs of qiyamah that a Muslim comes to the masjid and leaves the masjid without prayer, especially when it's close to salat time. This is one of the signs of qiyamah. A Muslim has to be a masjid-centric person. His heart, his life has to be within the masjid. That's why we have food in the masjid. That's why we have gatherings in the masjid. That's why we have social events in the masjid. We have classes in the masjid. Because our heart has to beat with the masjid. When there is no masjid, there is no barakah in anything that we do. So inshallah ta'ala, one of the things of respect that we show towards the masjid is to do our salat in the masjid, inshallah ta'ala. So we eat, and if you need to wait for 5 minutes, wait for 5 minutes and do your Isha. And after that, if you want to go home, go home. Jazakumullahu khair al-jaza. Lillahi ta'ala al-Fatiha. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك